Welcome to Exit 10. Today, we will discuss the top 10 worst plagues in human history. Number 10. Typhus fever. Typhus fever is a disease that causes serious changes in the nervous system, fever, and lowering of blood pressure, which without treatment leads to death. Before antibiotics, the only way to prevent the disease was a vaccine invented back in the 1920s. Typhoid is transmitted through lice to rats and mice and later to humans, primarily affecting soldiers who were stationed in poor sanitary conditions. During Napoleon's invasion of Russia, the disease killed 400,000 people. Over 10 million humans were affected from Poland to Romania and Russia until around the time of the First World War. Number 9. Cholera. There have been several major cholera epidemics throughout history, with more than 800,000 people dying during the sixth epidemic between 1910 and 1911, and more than 1 million during the third outbreak in the mid-19th century. The first mass attack of the disease took place in 1817. Cholera is caused by a bacteria that attacks the digestive system. It causes severe diarrhea and exceptional dehydration, which can bring death in a matter of a few hours. Even today, cholera continues to take its toll on around 130,000 people per year, with infections occurring mainly in the areas without access to clean drinking water. Number 8. Tuberculosis, a deadly disease caused by bacteria. The first known traces of this illness were found in the DNA of Egyptian mummies, which means that tuberculosis has been ravishing humanity for thousands of years. Tuberculosis attacks the lungs and leads to night sweats and general weakness, and it's hallmarked by its bloody cough. In 19th century Europe, tuberculosis killed 25% of the population. The revival of tuberculosis has also been accompanied by an increase in the incidences of AIDS, which affects the immune system. About 2 million people still die of tuberculosis every year. Number 7. Asian influenza. Let's talk a little about an influenza epidemic that erupted in China back in 1956 and lasted for 2 years. The H2N2 virus, which occurs frequently in birds, had spread from the Middle Kingdom to Hong Kong, Singapore, and ultimately the United States. According to the World Health Organization, 2 million people have died as a result of the Asian influenza infection. Number 6. The Antonine Plague. This is the story of an epidemic that erupted in 165 AD, taking its name from the dynasty that then prevailed in the Roman Empire. The disease spread to Asia, Greece, Egypt, and Italy. The real cause of the epidemic is still unknown, although it is now believed to have been a combination of two diseases, the plague and blackpox, which was then taken to Europe by soldiers returning home, ultimately killing more than 5 million people. Number 5. HIV Aids. AIDS, or acquired immunodeficiency syndrome, is one of the youngest diseases on our list. The first cases of this deadly illness caused by HIV were recorded in the 1960s, but the real outbreak occurred in the 80s. Estimates show that the disease took between 2 to 39 million lives. Currently, 68% of all cases are in sub-Saharan Africa. There's no cure for AIDS, but there are medications to prolong lives of those infected. One of the most famous victims of the disease was Freddie Mercury, the frontman of Queen. Number 4. Black Death. Black Death, the second Great Plague, is believed to have been the first true pandemic on Earth. Erupting in the 14th century, the disease spread through the Silk Road from Crimea to the entirety of Europe due to fleas on rats. Symptoms of this plague included swollen lymph nodes, cough, high fever, or breathing difficulties. As a result of the Black Death, some estimates suggest that Europe's population had decreased from 450 to 350 million people. It took over 150 years for the population of the old continent to return to its pre-pandemic state. Number 3. Smallpox in North America. Smallpox reached the coast of America together with European settlers at the beginning of the 17th century. The epidemic occurred between 1633 and 1634, when the disease swept away entire Indian tribes, and modern estimates indicate that smallpox could have killed up to 90 million indigenous Americans. A characteristic symptom of smallpox is a nasty rash all over the body. In 1770, Edward Jenner invented a vaccine against smallpox, which eliminated the disease completely. It has been considered eradicated. Number 2. The Spanish influenza of 1918. The influenza epidemic in Spain erupted in 1918, and its outbreaks could be observed in many parts of the world. It spread at rapid rates through the malnourished soldiers returning home at the end of World War I. According to various estimations, the disease killed between 50 and eventually 100 million people. This influenza virus caused fluid to accumulate in the lungs, which eventually led to death. Number 1. The Plague of Justinian. Our number 1 spot is dedicated to an epidemic plague that struck humanity between 541 and 542 AD. Named after Emperor Byzantium, Justinian I, who was also a victim of the disease, this was the most deadly plague in human history, and it's now estimated to have killed a total of 100 million people, which was half of the population of the world at the time. At its peak in Constantinople alone, the disease killed 5,000 people a day. The outbreak spread in record time thanks to rats traveling on ships between continents. From China, the plague reached North Africa, bringing famine and leading even more people to become susceptible to this horrific disease. That's it for today's episode. Check out our other videos, subscribe to Exit 10, hit that like button, and smash the bell!